Court is in session. Welcome to Life on Trial. My name's Louis, and my whole life I've spent a lot of time thinking about the world, the way we move through life, the way life moves through us, and all the change and trials. Thinking a lot about this podcast and what I wanted to do, what I wanted to do, and really why I want to do it in the first place. So, give you a little backstory. I've recently gotten really into watching podcasts, and now it's sort of my main hobby, or then it leaned into sort of just a trait of mine, I think. Like I just started using it as an educational tool, and really, I find it more entertaining and more fulfilling than most YouTube videos, anything I've been keeping up with in the past few years. And actually kind of bummed that I didn't start podcasting sooner or listening to podcasts sooner with wanting to with watching all these podcasts, listening to all of these podcasts, I started realizing I sort of started to run out of things to listen to. An idea of mine, like, okay, like I've always wanted to write a book, and maybe I will one day. But in the meantime, like I figure there's other ways to share my story and maybe other people's stories to still have that same sort of general message of wanting to connect with people and know that your life trial might be intertwined with someone else's. So sharing it or just kind of going through the evidence of that trial could be evident in someone else's. Certainly, listening to other people's podcasts was pivotal moments for me and really helped me grow internally and mentally as a person in a lot of ways. It takes me back to when I was a freshman in high school. That's when I really started feeling this is what I think. Again, I'm not a doctor or anything or have any type of qualifications for what I'm talking about right now. But I would literally feel my frontal lobe expanding or just like, yeah, as soon as I started connecting things and understanding things specifically, wow, my brain just could not get enough of it. And that's what I started feeling again when I started listening to podcasts. And going back to high school, that was one of the best educational years in my life where I think my lowest grade that year was a 95. And then my highest grade was like a 97. That's a whole another podcast episode. But anyways, so that's a little bit about why I wanted to start my podcast. Basically, I started running out of podcast episodes to listen to. A lot of it was self-help. I'm not really into the murder mystery, the murder criminal podcast. I don't know. That's not what this is. Life on Trial is everything is on trial. Every moment that you live, every experience that you share with someone is another trial in life. And I think it's a beautiful way to think of it. Yes, trial as in it can be judgmental. Sometimes you're the judge in your story and someone else's. Sometimes you're the jury, sometimes you're the prosecutor, sometimes you're the defendant, sometimes you're all of them. And that is what life is. And life is just one big trial that we're all living. And it's it's one big trial, but with that, all the people you interact with, a lot of those big trials connect and intertwine, and it's just an ongoing multiplying trial of just different verdicts you might end up with, or maybe you won't end up with a verdict and all you can do is examine the evidence. And I think that's what this podcast is really mainly going to be about, just examining evidence. And this can be deep evidence, deep as fuck. Or it can be really fun evidence. It could be current events, things about my life, yours, other people's, the world. But I did want it to mainly be about just bettering the understanding of what, certain trials were, right? Whether that's for myself, even if it is to better my understanding of a certain moment or a certain trial of mine or someone else's, I do think it's beneficial to share that evidence with whoever wants to listen to it because sometimes certain evidence files are not shared and kind of feel isolated and just like crazy in a sense. Not crazy, but just well, you don't know what to do with it. You just sit with it and in silence, and that trial just ends up being a cold case for a long time that you can't solve. And a lot of the reason for that is you didn't know that you could solve it, or that just going through the evidence might be even better than solving it, or that's certainly better than just leaving it out there in the open and or sealed up. Court is in session. Haha. Get away. So this is Life on Trial, and I'm Louis Persia, your host. And 1 second. Court is in session. Haha.